Okay, so if you're listening, chances are you've seen them. The ads, the influencers, maybe even your friends talking about collagen peptides for, younger looking skin.
Absolutely. Powders, capsules, those beauty drinks, they really are everywhere.
They are. And with all that noise, it's easy to wonder, what's real? What's just marketing?
Hmm. A very valid question. There's so much buzz, it's important to look at what's actually going on beneath the surface.
Exactly. So today, that's our mission. We're doing a deep dive into collagen peptides. We want to look at the real science. What does it actually say about skin health and slowing down those visible signs of aging?
We're aiming to cut through the hype,
Yep.
essentially. Understand the scientific basis, if any, for these claims.
Right. And maybe a good starting point is something most of us experience somewhere around our mid-20s, maybe early 30s.
Yeah, that's when our body's natural collagen production starts to, well, slow down.
And that's often when we start noticing things, isn't it?
Hmm.
Skin maybe isn't quite as bouncy. Perhaps those first fine lines appear.
Precisely. That natural decline is really the backdrop for this whole market.
Okay. And you mentioned before we started that collagen peptides aren't just like any protein.
That's key. They have specific properties, a unique structure that might offer benefits specifically for the skin, different from, say, whey protein you might take after a workout.
Interesting. Okay, let's unpack the basics first then. Collagen, we hear the word constantly in beauty. What is its actual job in our skin?
Think of it as the scaffolding. It's the most abundant protein in our body, and for skin, it's the absolute key structural component.
Scaffolding, so it provides the structure.
Exactly. It provides the firmness, the elasticity, basically, what helps skin keep its shape and resilience, that ability to snap back.
Got it. Keeps things looking smooth and tight.
You could say that.
Yeah.
And like any structure, it can weaken over time. That natural age-related decrease we mentioned, that's part of it.
And other things speed it up too, right?
Oh, definitely. Things like sun exposure, UV damage is a big one, smoking, not getting enough sleep, even high levels of stress. They all accelerate collagen breakdown.
Leading to, well, thinner skin, more wrinkles, less of that youthful firmness.
Precisely. It paints a clear picture of why people start looking for solutions.
Okay, so that's the problem. Declining collagen. Now, back to the peptides. You said they're different. How? If I eat meat or other protein sources, aren't I getting the building blocks?
That's a great question, and it gets to the heart of it. Yes, other proteins provide amino acids, but collagen has a very unique amino acid profile.
Unique how?
It's particularly rich in glycine, proline, and hydroxyproline. These three are like the specialist workers needed specifically for building and maintaining skin collagen.
Ah, so it's not just general labor, it's the specialists for the skin job.
Exactly. While your body can make these amino acids, providing them directly in this collagen-specific ratio might be beneficial. But there's more to it than just the amino acids. It's about how they're processed and absorbed. Collagen peptides aren't the whole large collagen molecule. They're hydrolyzed.
Hydrolyzed, meaning broken down.
Correct. Broken down into much smaller chains, peptides, specifically di- and tripeptides. Think of them as pre-digested, almost.
And the advantage of that is?
Easier absorption. These smaller units can pass through the gut lining intact and get into the bloodstream much more readily than a big, complex protein molecule.
Okay, so better bioavailability, essentially. They get where they need to go more easily.
That's part of it. But here's the really fascinating bit, according to the research. Once they're in the bloodstream, they don't just float around waiting to be used as building blocks.
No. What do?
They seem to act like messengers. They possess these messenger-like properties.
Messengers, like sending signals to our skin.
Sort of, yes.
Yeah.
The evidence suggests these specific peptides can actually signal the key cells in our skin, the fibroblasts.
Fibroblasts, those are the collagen factories, right?
Exactly. The peptides seem to signal these fibroblasts to, well, get busier to produce more collagen, and potentially also to slow down the breakdown of the collagen that's already there.
Wow. Okay, that's different. So it's not just passive supply, it's active signaling, like telling the factory to ramp up production and protect the inventory.
That's a really good analogy, yes. Yeah. It's this signaling aspect, this bioactivity, that potentially makes them more targeted for skin health than just consuming generic protein.
Okay, the theory makes sense, it's plausible. But what about proof? What happens when people actually take these? What do the clinical studies show?
Right, the crucial question. Well, there's actually a growing body of clinical research. It's not definitive on every single claim, of course, but some consistent findings are emerging.
Such as?
Improvements in skin elasticity and firmness are probably the most consistently reported benefits. Several double-blind, placebo-controlled trials, the gold standard, really have shown measurable improvements. Participants taking collagen peptides, compared to a placebo group, showed increased skin elasticity, often measured around the eyes or cheeks.
And how long did that typically take?
Usually, these effects start becoming noticeable after about 8 to 12 weeks of taking the supplement daily.
So a couple of months of consistent use, that makes sense. That feeling of skin being a bit more supple, that could be real.
It seems scientifically plausible, yes.
Yeah.
And related to that, there's also evidence for increased skin hydration.
Ah, hydration. Always important for that healthy look. How does that work?
The thinking is that by supporting the overall collagen matrix and potentially stimulating things like hyaluronic acid production, another key molecule for moisture, the skin becomes better at retaining water.
Okay, improved structure leads to better moisture holding. Makes sense.
And then there's the wrinkle question.
Yes, the big one for many people. Any effect there?
Some studies have reported reductions in wrinkle depth or volume. However, these effects often seem to take a bit longer.
Longer than the elasticity improvements?
Potentially, yes. We might be talking 3 months or more of consistent daily intake to see noticeable changes in wrinkles for some individuals. It varies, of course.
So the takeaway seems to be it's not an overnight miracle cure.
Definitely not. It's about supporting the skin's natural processes over time. Consistency seems key. You're looking at starting to see potential changes around 8 weeks, with maybe more significant effects after 12 weeks or longer.
Right. It's a gradual internal support system.
Exactly.
Okay, you mentioned the signaling, the messenger properties. Can we dive a little deeper into how that might actually work at the cellular level? How do these peptides talk to the fibroblasts?
Sure. This is where it gets quite specific, but it helps understand the why. Researchers believe these peptides bind to specific receptors on the surface of the fibroblast cells.
Like a key fitting into a lock.
Precisely that analogy. And different peptides might fit different locks. For example, there's evidence they interact with receptors called discoidin domain receptors, or DDRs.
DDR sounds technical. What do they do?
To think of them as quality control managers for collagen. They help regulate collagen turnover, the balance between making new collagen and breaking down old stuff. They're also involved in skin repair processes.
So interacting with them could nudge the balance towards making more or breaking down less?
That's the hypothesis. By binding to DDRs, the peptides might influence that delicate balance in a favorable way, helping maintain a healthier collagen matrix.
Interesting. Are there other receptors involved?
Yes, another important group is the integrin receptor complexes. These are like communication hubs on the cell surface.
Communication hubs.
Yeah, they're crucial for how cells sense and respond to their environment, including signals related to stress, damage, or aging. Collagen peptides might bind to certain integrins and influence these cellular responses.
So again, influencing how the cell behaves, potentially making it act younger or more resilient.
That's the idea. It reinforces that the benefits might go beyond just providing building blocks. It's about actively modulating cell behavior through these signaling pathways.
So the key takeaway is, it's not just passive supply, it's potentially active biological signaling telling the skin cells, hey, make more collagen, protect what you have.
That summarizes the proposed mechanism really well. It's like giving your skin's natural machinery a helpful nudge, especially as it naturally starts to slow down with age.
Okay, this is all really compelling. So for someone listening thinking, all right, I'm interested, what are the practical takeaways? How should they approach this?
Well, first, perspective is important. Collagen peptides should be seen as one part of a holistic approach to skin health and healthy aging.
Not a magic bullet that replaces sunscreen or a good diet.
Absolutely not. You still need the fundamentals. Sun protection is non-negotiable. A diet rich in antioxidants helps fight damage. Good sleep is crucial for repair. Managing stress, all those things matter hugely.
Right. So think of peptides as a potential addition to that foundation.
Exactly. A tool for supporting your skin from within. Based on the evidence, they seem most promising for helping with skin elasticity, hydration, and maybe softening fine lines over time.
Okay. So if someone decides they do want to try them and they go look at supplements, there are so many options. What should they look for on the label?
Good question. There are a few key things. First, The dose.
How much?
Most of the studies showing positive effects use somewhere between 5 and 10 grams of hydrolyzed collagen peptides per day.
Okay, 5 to 10 grams. And hydrolyzed is important.
Very important. That word tells you the collagen has been broken down into those smaller, more absorbable peptides we talked about. If it just says collagen, it might not be in that readily usable form.
Got it. Hydrolyzed, 5, 10 grams. What else?
The type of collagen might matter too. For skin health, type I and type 3 collagen are the most relevant, as they're the predominant types found in our skin. So look for supplements specifying those types.
Type I and 3. Noted. Anything else?
Sometimes you'll see added vitamin C. That can be a plus.
Why vitamin C?
Because vitamin C is actually essential for your body to synthesize its own collagen. It's a cofactor in the process. So including it makes sense. It ensures you have that piece of the puzzle covered.
Okay, that's logical. Support the peptides in the body's natural production.
And finally, like with any supplement, look for signs of quality control. Third-party testing for purity and potency is ideal. It gives you some assurance you're actually getting what the label says without unwanted extras.
Right, good point. So, practical checklist, 5, 10 grams daily, hydrolyzed peptides, ideally type I and 3, maybe with vitamin C, and look for third-party testing if possible.
That's a solid checklist?
And remember, patience and consistency are key.
Absolutely. It's about long-term support, not instant results.
Okay, so let's try and bring this all together. We started by acknowledging collagen is fundamental to skin structure, but production declines with age and lifestyle factors.
Right. Then we established that collagen peptides are different, unique amino acids, but more importantly, hydrolyzed for absorption and potential signaling.
And these signals might activate fibroblasts, our collagen factories, telling them to produce more and break down less.
Supported by clinical studies showing potential improvements, especially in elasticity and hydration, maybe fine lines, usually after 8-12 weeks or more of consistent use.
And practically, we look for hydrolyzed type I and 3, 5, 10 gram daily, maybe vitamin C, and quality testing, viewing it as part of a bigger skin health picture.
That covers it nicely. It's about understanding the biological plausibility, how it could work, and seeing that backed up by accumulating clinical data.
So maybe the final thought for everyone listening is this. As we think about aging well and feeling good in our skin, could supporting it from the inside out at that cellular signaling level, could that be a valuable part of your overall wellness strategy?
It's certainly a fascinating angle to consider. Moving beyond just topical treatments to internal nourishment and support, definitely food for thought.